WBA World Welterweight Championship belt goes up for grabs as Meldrick Taylor prepares to defend it for the first time against Luis Garcia. Taylor winning the championship January 19 in Atlantic City against New Yorker Aaron Davis, who was regarded as a bigger and stronger welterweight than Meldrick. And now here's another one who is bigger and stronger in appearance than Taylor, the #1 ranked contender, Luis Garcia of Venezuela.
Garcia saw Taylor when they were both amateurs as a featherweight. So it's clear why he can't believe that he is a legitimate welterweight. And he's leaning on that and using that as fuel to give him the energy to try to press Taylor in this fight in the hopes he can wear him down.
And just to amplify that point, of course, Meldrick at age 17 was, when he won his Olympic gold medal in 1984, the youngest ever to do it. So Garcia probably saw him as a 15 or 16-year-old amateur. It's been a long time.
Meldrick has some big shoulders, I tell you.
Luis Garcia has big shoulders for a welterweight. 21 wins, no losses, 17 KOs. The 17 knockouts have come in his last 19 fights. The first 2 were decisions.
He is a capable fighter at the peak of confidence, trying to come up to this challenge of his life, and he could be dangerous.
Looked very fluid on the one videotape that we saw. A conventional fighter who likes to set things up with the jab and tries to land the right cross as his money punch. And here comes Meldrick Taylor.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Familiar figure of Lou Duba, the pepper pot, making noise and wreaking havoc in front of Taylor as he makes his way through the crowd.
You know, conversely of what I just said, Jim and George, he himself hasn't convinced himself that he is a true welterweight, even though he's a champion. Remember, he's only had 1 fight against a welterweight.
Stop right here.
And he admits that he has to have several under his belt before he will consider himself a true welterweight champion. So this should be a good test, at the very least, for him.
Most of the great welterweights were lightweights, good lightweights anyway. I don't understand why they psych themselves up that it may be a problem being a welterweight or a light middleweight.
Well, of course, in the old days, when there were 16 pounds between weight classes and guys went up and down with fluidity like Ray Robinson, then you wouldn't have paid all this much attention to whether he weighs 147 or 154. And there is the look at Meldrick Taylor's record. Of course, the 1 loss dominates his profile. The fight with Chavez is one which will never be forgotten by boxing fans. There have been 2 appearances since then, a shaky 10-round decision over Primo Ramos, and then an easy 12-round title-winning decision over Aaron Davis. Tail of the tape, and you will see that Meldrick Taylor gives up very little except for 2.5 inches of height. At 3 years, the younger fighter, and with 3 inches less reach, he's just a little bit smaller than Luis Garcia.
And in their last fights, you see that their punch stat numbers are virtually identical. And there you see the same thing with their jabs, but Taylor has fought stiffer opposition. Harold, the rules, please.
Larry, in our second fight of the night, the rules are those of the World Boxing Association. 3 judges will score the fight on a 10-point must system. No standing 8 count, but the 3 knockdown rule is in effect, and you can only be saved by the bell in the last round only.
And it's time to visit Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our second main event of the evening as Al Goosen Promotions and Main Event Monitor, in association with the King of Beers, Budweiser, present a 10 Goose boxing event, the WBA Welterweight Championship of the World. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Bolivar Icaza, along with the California State Athletic Commission, Chairman Charles Westland, Commissioner in Attendance Jerry Nathanson. Presenting the officials as appointed. Judging at ringside from San Diego, California, Fritz Werner. From Panama, Rodolfo Maldonado. and from New Mexico, Nefi Quintana. And the referee in charge of this bout, working in this, his 26th world title bout, Lou Moret. All right, fans, here we go. This is it, the welterweight battle of the desert. Our co-main event scheduled for 12 rounds, the WBA welterweight championship of the world. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner, is the challenger. Entering the ring wearing black trunks with red trim, coming all the way from Caracas, Venezuela. His weight 146 3/4 pounds. His outstanding record of 21 victories, no defeats, 17 wins by way of knockout. He is ranked the #1 welterweight contender by the WBA, introducing the undefeated Luis Gabriel Garcia. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, he is the defending world champion. Entering the ring wearing black trunks with multicolored trim. He's hailing from the fighting town of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a weight of 146 3/4 pounds. His very fine record, 26 wins. Only one defeat, one draw, 14 wins by way of knockout. He is the former Olympic gold medalist, the former junior welterweight world champion, the current WBA welterweight champion of the world, Meldrick TNT Taylor.
Luis, venga. Give me instructions, instructions. Que digan reglas. Tiene preguntas. Any questions? Their hands.
The first issue in this fight is how Garcia handles the quick hands of Meldrick Taylor. Taylor has the fastest hands in the West or the East, and Garcia must show that he can deal with that somehow.
Boy, you got this great height advantage. The arms are almost down to his knees. That can present a problem to, I don't care how fast your hands are, it can present a problem.
You're about to look at two very athletic fighters. Both of them move well with their feet. Both of them have quick hands, although Taylor, as Larry points out, is in a class by himself for hand speed. Meldrick with a right to the body.
Taylor's going to have to get out there and establish, hey, give me some respect. And if he doesn't get it established in the first couple of rounds, he's going to have a long night on his hands.
Look at the length of Garcia's jab. Really emphasizes that advantage in reach.
That can become like a stick, sticking you round after round. He can hit you without even getting close to you.
Well, Meldrick was so effective as a body puncher against Chavez and then again against Aaron Davis. You wonder if he'll try to step up inside of Garcia's jab to nullify it.
I don't think that he's going to be able to, because he's fighting a guy who has a left jab. He knows how to use it, and he's not interested in a knockout. It can cause problems. Your face gets swelling. Your nose.
Right hand lead by Taylor, landed over the top of Garcia's left. Garcia looks very relaxed in his first exposure in a situation like this.
Good body punch by Meldrick Taylor. That hurts.
He loves to go to the body. His trainer, George Benton, is a master at teaching it.
That's the only thing that discourages a good left jabber. You start hitting him underneath that thing, he won't throw it anymore. But it's difficult. You have to catch him in the act of throwing it. That's the only time you can be effective with a good body punch.
Taylor ducking effectively in that one sequence and got in one body blow for his trouble. Now takes the right hand as he lunges inside against Garcia.
He's having to lunge because he can't measure it. The guy seems to be close because he's touching him. But then when he goes forward, he's not touching him. That height advantage can cause a problem.
And Meldrick can't get too anxious and lunge because Garcia looks to be the type who can take advantage.
Garcia loves being exposed to all the celebrities. Told me he's hungry. He want to come back again. That left jab can cause Taylor to really lose his breathing by tapping him on the tip of his nose over and over and over.
Well, Meldrick has gotten a little wild in the last minute, has lunged in ungainly fashion twice, swung roundhouse fashion one time and missed wildly. Garcia is the more collected and cooler customer right now.
He's cool as a cucumber. We should have had Meldrick Taylor boxing with a light heavyweight. There's no doubt about it.
Two solid jabs from Taylor now. And a good exchange after the bell.
Boy, that's when you fight a champion. You never know.
We go to Garcia's corner with our interpreter, Ruben Castillo.
Lo que se habló, la vaselina cerrada.
You got to be more intelligent than him. You got to throw your right hand over the top and throw your left hook.
No lo dejemos que se acerque, se está lanzando arriba de ti. Siempre usa los pasos.
Keep the jab going, Mel, because the jab is saving you. He can't get the right hand to go as quick as he wants it. Okay. Right? Now, don't fire so many long punches at him. Okay. Wait till you get close. Okay. And let your jab get you close, right?
Here's the exchange at the end of the bell when Taylor made his best statement of the round.
It was that the initial left jab that caused Taylor to want to do that.
Larry, you think the trunks might be bothering Meldrick Taylor?
I don't know. It's a peculiar thing. It looks like he has some kind of outside supporter. He keeps pushing it down. I don't know if it's the trunks or the supporter under the trunks. He keeps look at that. Almost after every exchange, he pushes them down.
Poorly designed trunk. Got a little piece under there that seemed to pull the trunks down. No fight. Good lead right hand.
Garcia landing, and now Taylor lands a vicious left hook in return.
Taylor's trying to establish and get some respect. It's going to be hard because that left jab, no matter what he does, that left jab seems to come right back.
Taylor wild and off balance again, George. He is lunging in, looks very anxious. And Garcia has landed a couple of solid blows in instances where Meldrick was just out over his feet too far.
This is a time when a shorter fighter has to get in there and win this fight on points the first 5 rounds. Don't matter about looking pretty. Just win that fight. Then wait on him to come after you in the next couple of rounds. Good right hand, left right hand to the body by Meldrick Taylor.
But he again stops.
Another good right hand.
Just the supporter with both hands, and now he does it again.
Someone's going to have to tell him to forget about those trunks. Just forget about your trunks.
He's doing it with both hands. He can't keep doing that and stay in the fight.
I'm wondering, George, if Garcia's
The problem with the trunks is Meldrick Taylor's too fashion conscious.
You're wondering what, Larry?
I'm wondering if Garcia or somebody
Good left hook to the head of Taylor.
isn't going to pick that up and try to counter.
Exactly. Yeah, get him while his hands are down. That was a sensational left hook by Meldrick Taylor.
But I think at this point he shouldn't be trying to concentrate on a knockout. He's got the respect now. Just get in there and stay ahead on point. Garcia hasn't even tried to start his punch and power delivery yet.
Right to the arm by Taylor.
That hurts.
Yeah, George Benton loves for his fighters to hit the upper arm, and Meldrick is doing it, and he lands the left hook twice, and Garcia tries to return with the right, but a little wide. Can't get it home.
The old saying is, once you hit a guy, if you don't do anything, he's going to hit you back.
Garcia holding behind the head and hitting with the right effectively to the body.
He hit Meldrick Taylor in the body, a good shot. Going to have something to do with the later round.
Got away with doing it while holding, too. Left and a right by Garcia, and he slips the left hook this time. Could be a brawl, gentlemen.
There are people in Garcia's corner who have bet tens of thousands of dollars at 3 and 4 to 1 odds on this fight, and right now they have reason for hope.
Stay down to business, right? That's what you got to do, man. Stay down to business, put it right in the hand, and come on back to the corner. Now,
Number 2, Mel, all you have to do with this guy is use your jab. See, you're making your fighter hard because you're missing with lunges. You're throwing wild hooks and you're missing this guy. Yeah, boy.
Here's Taylor with a lead right hand that snaked back. But Garcia comes right back. He doesn't cover up. He tries to retaliate immediately. Here he is at the end of the round, taking another left and still punching. I would have to say that our pre-fight hope or hype that Garcia was a legitimate fighter has been borne out so far.
Well, particularly if Taylor forgets to box. And you heard George Benton between rounds telling him you've forgotten about the jab, you're lunging, you're doing the guy a lot of favors. And indeed he is so far.
Garcia's making the mistake of his life trying to slug it out with him. Just stay back on that left jab, pile up your points, throw it right hand only when he's open.
Well, he landed a right hand but took a left in return. Both fighters have shown the capacity to counter. Good left by Taylor.
Garcia steps to Taylor's left side and throws him off. He can't do anything when he does it. Hit him in the back that time. That hurts.
Taylor still reaching to adjust that red supporter around his waist. But now he's remembering to throw the jab. And when he does, he dictates the flow of the action. But Garcia lands a right up and under. And a couple of other good blows in that exchange.
When Taylor doesn't effectively land that right hand, Garcia can counter easy because of the reach advantage. Steps just an inch out of the way. Garcia's getting courageous now. He threw a right hand to the body.
He'll invite the left hook if he keeps doing it.
George, one thing that seems to have happened here is that with his long left, he has almost neutralized the tremendous hand speed of Taylor. Taylor isn't getting off the volleys of punches we've seen him get off in his previous fights.
And he's discouraged. Meldrick Taylor is discouraged. You never want that to happen to a young fighter, especially when he's been knocked out not too long ago.
Well, what it all adds up to is that there are some things going Garcia's way. Can he capitalize, or will there be too many of those left hooks?
Boy, that hurt. 6 more of those and the fight can be over.
Well, Taylor's landed 4 Major League left hooks so far.
But because of the weight difference, he's up in weight. You throw that many left hooks over and over, you get tired. If the guy's not falling. Another left hook by Garcia.
And Garcia comes up and under with the right. Just missed. Garcia's corner wants him to wait for Meldrick to come in and then throw the uppercut. Come up and under.
He's trying to get it started, but Meldrick Taylor is just so quick and courageous.
Another left hook by Taylor lands right on the button. Garcia just drops the right too much.
A couple more of those left hooks and we can still cut early in this fight. Garcia is getting hit in the same spot over and over. Got a chance of being cut.
He's going to have to bring the right hand up if he's going to defend against the left hook. He's too late with it all the time.
Meldrick Taylor has the respect he needed earlier. He has it now, but can he maintain it?
Tranquilito. Tranquilo, normal. Protector.
Be calm, be calm. Give me a protector.
Jab this guy. Use your jab. You understand? Just keep your jab going. You'll start to fight him. You understand? But you're not jabbing him enough. Keep sticking him. Jab in his chest. Jab at his belly. Jab at his chest. Jab at his belly.
Here's where we see Taylor at his best, coming up with that fast left hand. But he hasn't done that as much as we normally see him. He's meeting a fighter who is staying on top of him, jumping right back in as soon as he gets punched, not giving him a chance to get off more than 1 or 2 punches at a time.
Hey, Larry, we were in the luxury suites there for a second. We were right upstairs in the luxury boxes. First time ever at a boxing match, huh?
Good right hand by Garcia.
So Garcia begins round 4 with the overhand right, and now Taylor tries to establish the jab and go back to boxing. And when he gets a chance, fire that left hook.
Garcia's reacting like the old matador. Jab should move left and right. Jab should move left and right. He was caught. Good right hand.
Solid right hand counter by Taylor. Garcia moves backward now for a couple of steps. I think Meldrick's punching power may be a little bit better than Garcia was willing to give him credit for.
Taylor is starting to get that respect, like I said, and Garcia's hesitating. The more he does that, the more courage Taylor's going to get. He could turn it into a rough night for Garcia.
The counters are coming fast now from Taylor. Garcia has become unwilling to throw the jab that he used so frequently early in the fight. Slugfest.
Well, Garcia has certainly found out that Taylor is not a featherweight anymore.
That's the first round I saw Meldrick Taylor come in with the 4-punch combination. Nobody can do it like he does.
And it made Garcia walk away and say, I'm not sure I want to trade punches at the center ring.
He's starting to think this guy really is a champion.
You can see Taylor's confidence growing now. He's a lot more comfortable than he was 2 rounds ago. Still fiddling with that supporter, though.
He's taking the best that Garcia has now. He's going to stand his ground and outbox him. Another good right hand by Taylor. And combinations after. We didn't see that in the first couple of rounds.
Another left hook by Taylor. That one seemed to land on the neck.
George, Meldrick seems to have solved whatever the puzzle of Garcia was. What do you think it was that he has found?
Well, Garcia now is deciding to load up with shots. He's not taking advantage of the reach. And Meldrick Taylor knows, man, I can get in there and land 3 or 4 combinations. Right hand, left hook to the chest. That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts. You're right. Garcia's effective when he manages to come up the middle. But those opportunities are fewer and farther between than was the case in rounds 1 and 2.
He's throwing a left jab now, Garcia, yes, but he's hesitant with it.
That was Taylor's best round. Pull your legs. Stretch your legs. Get some air. Everything's perfect.
Yeah. All you got, look, Mel, honest to God, you can beat this guy with one hand. All you got to do is just stay on top of the guy with the jab. When he fires, you see he's firing at the head.
All right, let's check in with Harold Letterman, our HBO scorer, to see how he sees the fight up to this point. Harold?
Jim, 3 rounds to 1, 39-37, Meldrick Taylor. I think in a purest form of this fight, Luis Garcia, in order to win this fight, has got to do some damage to keep Meldrick on the end of that jab. And you know what the problem is? He can't snap a jab. So that Meldrick Taylor gets inside the jab every time and whacks him with a right hand.
We talked earlier, George, about the fact that he was fighting a guy he had never seen. He started a little slow. Do you think now he's got him sized up?
He sized him up. He took his time and started to think about it. He was lunging, but now he believes in himself. To go for a knockout to beat Kurt. Whoa! Ooh.
Shades of Hearns Hagler.
Whoa! Everybody on their feet now. Unbelievable action.
Toe to toe.
We don't have to talk about that, do we?
Garcia's scared to throw the left jab now. He's afraid he's going to
He
get
has
caught.
shortened it up so much since round 1. It's really a dramatic change. It's called pulling your punch. He's not putting it out there all the way.
Taylor's found himself at home in that ring now.
It's just as Harold Letterman said, Garcia can't land the jab now. He's unwilling to commit to it.
And he doesn't have the kind of, I'm coming after you style to make up for it now. He's destined to throw that jab and move now.
Through the first 4 rounds, they threw an almost equal number of jabs. Taylor 163, Garcia 166. But Meldrick landed a third of his, 54, and Garcia only landed 23, according to punch stat numbers. So it is Meldrick who has become much more effective with the left jab, and that is dictating what happens in the fight now.
Meldrick Taylor is no longer fashion conscious now. He said, forget the trunks.
Garcia landed a left-right combination, but it was a tentative chopping combination.
Good right hand by Garcia.
hand.
You can't get too lazy and too comfortable in that ring with anybody.
And I'll tell you, we talk about Taylor's hand speed, and it is almost indescribable, but Garcia is no slouch in that category himself. He can release.
He catches Taylor there falling asleep again, overconfident. You can see Taylor getting off that canvas.
If Taylor was a dancer, he'd be Gregory Hines. If he was a singer, he'd be MC Hammer on Fast Forward. That's the kind of hand speed he has. It's a gift that very few fighters you see have.
He's trying to get a knockout now, which he shouldn't be at this point, diving in trying to get a knockout. That's when you get hurt.
Coming to a close. A little bit of a resting round for both fighters after the phenomenal exchange in the first minute.
Well, you think of the desert here as luxurious, as you've said, Jim, but there are rattlesnakes and coyotes out there, too.
Now listen, stick in his chest, stick in his belly with the jab, right? Now don't be throwing your punches away. You don't have to. All you got to do is use the jab. When this guy fires that, you get down like you've been doing. You got me covered? Now look.
Mira, ellos van a salir aquí para abajo, así como salió el primer round, impresionante con velocidad.
Come out there. You got to come out being smart this next round. Very, very smart. This fight is going even. The fight's even.
Cuando tú te acercas con él a corta distancia, Luis, tira los hopes, pam, pam, 2 veces.
Okay, here's that vicious, fast dance exchange in real speed. This isn't slow motion. This is the way it happened.
That's just astonishing. Well, we said at the beginning you're looking at 2 fighters, both of whom are superb athletes. They've proven it. Indeed, they showed it in that one exchange. And the statistic which now dominates the progress of the fight, in round 5, Garcia threw 33 jabs, got credit from PunchStat for landing only 2 of them. Taylor threw 32 and landed 21. Where went the reach advantage?
When a fighter starts execute like Taylor is doing, I've been in the ring a couple times like that, and you start wondering, if someone would show me an exit, I'll get out of here.
Muhammad Ali? I know, it was a long time ago. Garcia has slowed down.
He's being hurt, too, by right hand. But Taylor is not interested in a knockout. He'd like to see him get knocked down, but it's not like I'm going for a knockout. Double jab, first time.
Taylor still reaching down with both hands to fix that supporting apparatus.
When you start landing double jabs like Taylor is doing, that means you in control.
That was a double jab and a right to the body. An unusual combination.
Well, Meldrick is smiling much of the time now. He feels as though he has his man. And Garcia is not mounting much of an offense. He's content to back away and try to stay out of range of Taylor's jab.
He's throwing a few body punches down below the belt, though. Garcia is.
Well, that's one thing to try if things aren't going your way.
Some say it's not how you play the game is winning the count. tall with him and try to come over top with a left hook. Twice throwing that left hook low, over and over.
Garcia getting in a left uppercut, but he took 2 punches in return.
Good overhand right by Garcia.
Almost midway through the bout, what once looked as though it was going to be a brawl has settled into a boxing match, and that is to Meldrick Taylor's advantage.
Over here, Mel. Now you're boxing beautiful out there.
Now listen.
Beautiful.
Now you go out there and do just what you just did. Jab. You understand? Hey, listen. You don't make a hard fight. Just go out there and stick this guy instead and keep him going back. Look, this guy definitely cannot fight going back. Now all you got to do is take that jab. Don't swing at him with the wild ass hooks. You just swing from inside. Throw your hooks from inside. When you're on the outside, just jab. You understand? You don't need to throw no long.
El hombre está paralizado ya. El hombre está parado.
The guy's paralyzed. You're much quicker than him.
Giro a la izquierda.
Throw the right hand, throw the left hook. Throw right hand, left hook. Combinations.
No me
Do it with some
descuidas.
strength. Breathe deep, breathe deep. This is another one of those occasions, George, when I imagine the fighter saying to the corner, "What fight are you watching?"
Paralyzed, huh? Fascinating.
Taylor's really trying to get a knockout.
Yeah, but George Benton told him, don't get wild with the left hook.
Doesn't trust his corner now. He believes in himself. I want a knockout. He's fighting a guy who does not believe in being knocked out.
So you're saying that all he heard was left hook, huh? Another burst of energy from Garcia. And Meldrick accepts the invitation and pushes him back against the ropes.
Meldrick Taylor's in such good condition. I can't see anything standing in his way for a while.
There were rumors before this fight that Taylor was not training hard, that he was having difficulty making the weight. I never know where those rumors always start.
Definitely a rumor.
But I think it's true that he had to push himself to push himself. That is, he didn't know the opponent. He didn't have instant respect. And so he had to look in the mirror and say, you got to train, you got to train. It didn't come naturally to him.
And he acknowledged that. He moved his training camp to Sacramento, in a place where he'd never been before, partially because he said he wanted to get away from the distractions of being around people in Virginia and Philadelphia whom he knew too well.
Garcia's hope is to wait until the later rounds and try to get him then. Just don't get hurt now. Taylor's too quick. He's got those antennas now. They see punches coming when his eyes doesn't see them. When his eyes cannot see them, he can feel them coming.
Left hook landed inside for Taylor. Garcia steps back. Another fast hand exchange from both fighters, and far and away the key blow was the left hook from Taylor in close quarters.
A time like this, Garcia needs to be in front of a home crowd. Someone could tell him, go. The crowd stands up and go, go, and he gets this new spirit to attack.
But he's thousands of miles from the home crowd, fighting in the United States for the first time in his 22-fight career.
Meldrick Taylor was able to land 4 left jabs at a time. I've never seen a guy so confident.
Good right hand from Garcia. Taylor covered up and gave him a chance, and Garcia poked the right through the guard. Probably missed that time.
Probably the only hole in Taylor's style is that he plays and crowds sometimes when he shouldn't be.
And he's so intent on throwing the left hook that he'll give you a chance to land the right sometimes.
You can't clown in the ring. If you want to be a great one, you're going to have to be serious. The guy gets to be #1 contender. He's no fool.
Back in the luxury boxes again. Promoter Dan Goosen claims this is the first time that suites of that kind, so endemic to pro football, have ever been held in a boxing match.
But get close when you take off to the body.
I get a feel.
Because it makes you look busy. Right? Don't try to hit him on the chin, but you will hit him on the chin because the punch is raised off the shoulder and hit him. Yeah, you got this covered? Now keep the jab going just like you did. Like you did that.
There you see that left hook, which I think he's been setting up with his jab. He's made Garcia so conscious of that jab that the left hook is going to get through occasionally. Combinations. Combinations.
Ruben Castillo telling us that the word in Garcia's corner is to throw combinations. There was a lot of work on the right eye of Luis Garcia between rounds.
Has a rope tied around his waist, a tape this time. Keep his trunks up, Garcia does.
So they're even in points on their trunks.
Think about Meldrick Taylor. He's been lunging and diving in with left hooks. The last 2 rounds, he can be in big trouble because of it.
Garcia lands a straight right. You saw Taylor question himself there for a moment before stepping back in.
Garcia's
another right
land a stiff left jab.
Yeah, he did.
Meldrick Taylor is trying to get a rest now, which is dangerous because this guy is still fresh.
Well, this is the best start Luis Garcia has gotten in a round for a long time, and maybe he's beginning to get a little bit of his confidence back. He's initiating much of the action now, and that hasn't been the case for a while. And here comes Garcia.
You can't take a risk.
We should keep in mind that Taylor has, on occasion, shown signs of fatigue as the fight has gone on.
Sometimes when these guys get to be so sharp and fast, they take a rest when they're ahead, but with a guy that tall, you just can't afford to. You got to keep the front up by landing little punches, not strong shots.
Garcia was told to stay away, jab, move, throw combinations. So far in the round, it's been effective for him. And Taylor is stationary.
Trying to take a rest. Like I said, it's dangerous. The next round, he intends to come and pump it up a little bit, but the next round may not exist.
They trade punches in the center of the ring, and Meldrick got a good right into the ribcage.
Garcia's got his confidence back in his left jab again.
But he's awfully conscious of Meldrick's left jab. You can see him moving backward and trying to get away from it. And he stopped punching when Meldrick remembers to throw the jab.
The only thing about throwing so many fast punches, you got to rest eventually.
Right hand by Garcia, right hand by Taylor in return.
Now Taylor is trying to get back. You should never be in that position where you've got to get the guy back. He was ahead on points. He should have kept that little pity-pat going on.
That left hook was on the shoulder.
Garcia's got those long legs, and he's got bounce in them in the last round. Boy, was he caught with a good right hand.
And a left to the neck. There's an angry red welt on the right side of Garcia's neck already from left hooks.
That was Garcia's best round in a while.
¿Dónde decís que tiene algo?
Estoy bien, todo.
I'm okay, I'm okay.
No te voy a limpiar acá. Te voy a limpiar nomás.
Let me clean your eye.
Listo, está bien.
You're okay.
Así como hicimos este round.
Just the way you did this round, you got to do it the next round. You got to be smart.
Wait. You understand? See, the guy's going to block. He ain't going to punch, he's going to block. But you can't throw 2 punches because he'll counter. Throw 4.
Let's take a look at Harold Letterman's scorecard after 7 rounds.
Well, Jim, I've got it 77-75, 5 rounds to 3, favor Meldrick Taylor. And Jim, I can't help saying this, but I think Luis Garcia is an arm puncher in a world full of arm punches. When he throws his shots, he's not flat on his feet. He doesn't get the good power. And to tell you the truth, he ought to train with George Foreman and eat some cheeseburgers and possibly get some power in those shots, because that's what he needs.
Don't say that word. There's nothing before me but water.
Yeah, you got at least 15, 20 more minutes before you can eat, George. Maybe longer than that. Round 9 begins with Meldrick Taylor pressing the offensive.
He's coasted around. Now he believes he can get out there and take charge again. It's dangerous to rest in a boxing ring.
And you saw the graphic.
Now you got a guy who's confident again. He's leading with right hands. He's never done that through the whole fight.
Accurate graphics said that Luis Garcia has fought past the 8th round only once in his whole career. So this is only the second time he's ever seen a round 9. Garcia looked at the referee as if he expected to be stopped and then decided to go right ahead. Left hook by Taylor in response.
Good overhand right by Taylor. It almost dropped Garcia.
Yeah, but he could get a little wild if he starts trying to knock him out.
Got to come back with something. That's all there is to it. Whenever Garcia decides to lead with a straight right hand and a left hook, following it, he can get him a knockdown.
A knockdown?
That's right. He's leading with his jab at the eyes of the right hand, but come back with a left hook.
Chavez is the only guy to knock Taylor down, and it took him 12 rounds of punishment to do it, George.
Garcia is able to do it right now. If he quickly throws a straight right hand, come back with a left hook.
Well, then you differ from Harold Letterman, who says that Garcia is an arm puncher in a world of arm punchers.
That's true, but when the fight gets longer like this, it's a cool night, but you're outdoors. It's kind of hot out there. Sneaks up onto your body, sneaks into your body.
Garcia landed a lead right hand before that exchange tittered out.
He's got Taylor reaching again. Once he delivered that straight right hand a couple of times and get comfortable, there it goes. Almost got it.
Well, he bounced it off the top of Taylor's head there. Taylor comes back with another left hook to the neck. They trade punches at close quarters, and Meldrick's hand speed is again apparent.
Meldrick Taylor's a strong individual, too. He's a strong man.
George, can the case be made for Taylor just throwing caution to the winds and trying to overwhelm this guy?
I'll tell you one thing. You just can't decide that you're just going to leap in and lead with anything you want in a boxing match with a leading contender. He wrestled the last round and lost it. Now he's trying to make up by reaching.
Keep in mind that the only time Taylor ever lost a fight, it was because he wasn't careful enough.
Walks back to his corner like Jimmy Brown used to do from the huddle in football.
Luis, entrando y saliendo, que él te
Go
está
in and
tirando,
get
te
out.
agarró con un gancho de...
He got you with the right hand, the left hook.
Respirando,
Breathe deep.
respirando profundo.
Breathe real deep.
Ganadísimo.
Breathe through your nose.
Boxeando
Boxing.
hacia el lateral, boxeando, entrando y saliendo. Cuando pegas...
You got to concentrate. You got to be covered. And don't let this guy out jab you. Don't let him out hustle you. You got to be covered.
You're losing the fight now.
Now concentrate, Mel. You got to use that jab. The jab will win it for you, Mel.
Come on,
3
Mel.
rounds, all you. But you got to win
punch.
these 3. Now this guy knows this fight's close. He's going to try to
Boxeando, mucho boxeo, tocando, pegando.
Good right and lead to the body. That hurt.
Taylor scored a left hook. Both fighters were busy in round 9, throwing over 70 punches apiece. Let's see what kind of pace they'll carry into the final quarter of the fight.
I think Taylor is studiously avoiding the recommendations of his corner, of Georgie Benton. He feels he can go in and punch with this guy. He doesn't want to just jab.
The right hand he's throwing is not really a good straight right hand. It's like you're throwing a ball or something. They just don't hurt the same way as you put some body into it. Ooh, that hurt.
That was Taylor's lead right to the arm of Garcia. Garcia smiling at him now.
That means that hurt.
He goes back to working the jab from long range. Doesn't land it much, but keeps it out there and tries to set up some other things.
When you see a guy give you that smile, he is hurting and hurting good.
Well, and that's another good argument for going ahead and punching to the arm and shoulder.
That's when you start to fake. See where guys trying to cover up. No way is hurt by showing them fakes. Fake.
Boy, Taylor lands that jab, and Garcia just steps back and stops punching. Like that.
You know, I think, George, that Taylor has started to dominate this round because he came out and threw some hard punches right from the get-go.
That's right. Took charge quick.
Crowd picking up the chant for Garcia. I'll bet we have a lot of underdog bettors here in the desert.
Garcia was holding on just a little bit. The tape on Garcia's right hand is starting to come loose.
And one thing you like to see in a champion like Meldrick Taylor, he never forgets the body. Here we are in the late rounds, and when they come together in the center of the ring, Meldrick remembers to go to the rib cage every time.
He's got good trainers, old-fashioned trainers. Georgie Bitten, Lou Duva.
It was body punching that took the welterweight championship away from Aaron Davis.
Those hard body punches made Garcia lose concentration. Had something in mind, but he had to give it up.
You know, it's getting to the point in the fight where Garcia's got to do something to win it. He just can't lay back and box, try to win rounds. He's got to try to win the fight.
You just don't jump on a guy that you know nothing about.
I'm going to tell you, dude, you're going to make this an easy fight. Look, now this round, go out there and use your jab with the guy. See, now look, don't fire from too far away, right? Now this guy's dogged out too. Now if you use your jab, you'll come back. Now jab the shit out of the guy, jab at his chest and his belly, but you got to use the jab regular. You understand?
See those combinations? That's why you're doing. You're killing him in the body.
And when he gets close to you, then you just fight him off. But make him run, keep him running. That'll make you fight por delante por el salite de la soga. Salite de la soga, ahí es donde él.
Get out of this rut. You got to win the last 2 rounds to win this fight. Get some wind. There's 2 more rounds left. Keep your hands up. If he's coming close, tie him up. Box and throw punches.
And Larry, you mentioned how Meldrick Taylor seized the initiative early in round 10. It made a big difference because Garcia, who had thrown more than 70 blows in round 9, threw fewer than 50 in round 10.
Taylor coasted in the middle rounds. Now he's got his energy back.
And Luis Garcia has never been to round 11 before. He is in new territory.
He still has a lot of bounce in his legs.
But does he have any snap in his punches? I don't think so.
So Meldrick Taylor was not a knockout puncher as a lightweight, so there's no reason to believe he's going to be a knockout puncher here as a welterweight. He has to impose his quickness and instincts as a fighter in whatever way he can.
Meldrick Taylor has the fight won now. If he can just be cautious, keep piling up the points, don't take any unnecessary chances. But at this point, he seems to still want a knockout.
Well, he's getting so many chances to land the left hook. Why not?
Taylor,
yes.
Left eye is hurt.
You think his left eye is hurt, George?
Left eye is hurt. Garcia can see it, but he's just kind of nervous to get in there.
Yep, he's trying to chop at it with the right hand, though. That is the eye that was broken in the bout with Julio Cesar Chavez. The socket surrounding Meldrick Taylor's left eye was broken in that fight. There's a left hook that temporarily wards off Garcia.
Taylor's having some problems with vision.
Well, it's like they say, George, if you see 3 of the other guy, punch at the middle one.
Yeah, but you wonder what's going to happen over the long course of Meldrick's career. After having suffered the blowout fracture of the left eye, will it haunt him many times in the future? Right hand lead by Taylor lands. Garcia was able to take it.
Hold it. Okay.
Taylor is starting to walk in now without considering his footwork, crossing his right leg in front of his left leg. He's lost control of himself. His bottom lip is bleeding just a bit. Yet he's still strong.
And when he steps in, he remembers to punch to the body with great effect.
That's correct. Well-taught fighter.
Pouring punches from Garcia. Doesn't have enough left to get anything done.
But let's give Garcia some credit. He didn't turn out to be another bum in the park or the desert. He just doesn't have enough against a very good fighter.
This is the 12th round. You understand?
At least on my card, but I don't know what the judges think. There were some disputes about who the judges would be before all of this. I'm not familiar with the judges, so who knows how they're scoring it.
George, what have you seen that leads you to believe that Meldrick Taylor is having a vision problem with the left eye?
There's no doubt in my mind he was caught with a shot, and he just didn't see what a fellow was. He started to blink unnecessary, too much. Let me know he was having vision problems. I've been in that position myself. The telltale sign you get up, you try to bluff.
Harold, how do you have it going into the 12th?
Larry, 107, 102, 8 rounds to 3. Meldrick Taylor, I think he's in complete control. I think he should get the decision.
Here is the first 12th round of Luis Garcia's career. The last time Meldrick Taylor was in the 12th round, he stayed away from Aaron Davis on his way to winning the welterweight championship.
Boy, he's courageous. He knows now that he has a strong punch in the 12th round and that his legs are strong. He's cocky. He's going to be champ a long time.
Well, you fellas may not believe this, but I'm told that Luis Garcia's cornermen told him between rounds that they think he's winning the fight and he should be careful in this round. I hope for his sake that he doesn't believe them.
Good left jab by Meldrick Taylor. The sign that Meldrick Taylor is not affected by the knockout he suffered. He's trying to trade in the last round.
Well, maybe he just doesn't think Garcia can hurt him. This is a whole different prospect than he faced in trading punches in the last round with Julio Cesar Chavez on March 17, 1990.
Taylor's definitely been eating his Wheaties. He's in good shape.
Garcia is managing to stay busy in the first 12th round of his career. Not much snap on the punches, though.
Trying to get a knockout, but it started a little too late. Oh, a good solid left hook. Nobody has stopped to retie the tape on Garcia's hand. It's strange.
George, the question is going to remain open as to whether Meldrick Taylor has punching power as a welterweight. But will he ever need it?
I don't think so. You see a man who has power enough to make a guy respect him. Then he's going to train hard to rehearse the 12 rounds and win a lot of fights by point.
We're going to get a rest here now as a loose piece of tape gets cut off of Luis Garcia's glove.
I'm wondering how his corner can truly believe that he can win a fight this way against the champion and two in the champion's home country. You got to do more than Garcia has done.
Maybe the judges are giving signals. Eye contact. You never know.
Maybe they know they're being heard over national television and they want to set up the righteous indignation necessary to try for a rematch.
Boy, these are great fighters. Both are great fighters.
Taylor laughs as he steps out of the last furious exchange of the fight.
He's not afraid, Taylor. That being knocked down in the last round with the champion didn't bother him at all.
And there it is. Another root-going performance for Meldrick Taylor. The first 12-round fight of Luis Garcia's career, and a healthy respect on both sides. Garcia smiling and hugging his handlers as though he's satisfied with what he did. Harold, how did you see it?
Jim, 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, Meldrick Taylor. If you don't have to punch to hold off Meldrick Taylor, you're not going to beat him. And I think that was the story of the fight. Meldrick just walked right through Luis Garcia most of the fight and landed his power shots, his big right hands, piled up enough points to win it, and Luis Garcia just couldn't snap the jab to hold him away. And that's how I saw it. I thought it was all Meldrick Taylor with the power shots. Garcia couldn't hold him off with a solid jab.
You gave Garcia round 12, huh?
Yeah, I thought Meldrick took it a little bit easy in the 12th round and gave it to Garcia.
Who do you have winning the fight, Larry?
I had Taylor winning the fight 9-2-1. My guess is at least one of the judges will have it very close.
Punch stat numbers had Meldrick Taylor throwing an absolutely astonishing 114 punches in round 12. You sure, guys? Did he throw 114 punches in round 12? You're saying maybe 113. There are the final numbers in the fight. You can see that Taylor threw 926 punches and Garcia threw 890, and Meldrick was by far the more accurate of the two punchers. Much of the difference in jabs. Despite the huge advantage in reach, Garcia simply couldn't jab the way Taylor did. He landed only 67 out of 385 by punch stat computations, while Meldrick was landing nearly half of his 486 jabs in the bout. And it's taking a long time for the judges to submit their ballots with the final decision in this fight to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. Why would it take this long, George? Oh, no, George. What do you think, Harold?
Takes the supervisor a little while to make sure that all the scores are added correctly. You know, the supervisor adds the scores in conjunction with the local commissioner. Sometimes they got to get their signals together. They want to make sure the addition is right so that the announcer announces the correct score. That's all it is.
Do they add in English or Spanish?
In English.
All right, let's go up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon, for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 championship rounds of boxing, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge Quintana scores the bout 115-113, Meldrick Taylor. Judge Rodolfo Maldonado scores the bout 117-114, Luis Garcia. Werner, judge at ringside, scores the bout 118-112 in favor of the winner, and still the WBA welterweight champion, Meldrick Taylor.
Well, George, there you have some fascinating scores. 117-114 by Mr. Maldonado in favor of Garcia, and 9 points different, 118-112 in the decisive ballot for Meldrick Taylor. It's a subjective enterprise, this boxing, isn't it?
I'll tell you one thing, when they take long like that, you can sit back and wonder somebody is being thought about in the wrong direction.
Let's go to Larry Merchant.
All right, Meldrick, how do you feel about the split decision?
It was a very tough fight between Garcia. He was very gallant to win the fight, but I deserved the decision. I came back in the later rounds to pick the pace up and still later rounds. He was a good challenge for me, but I prevailed.
Are you convinced now, after fighting a real, supposedly strong welterweight, that you are a legitimate welterweight champion?
To be truthful, Larry, I think I need a few more welterweight fights to really get comfortable at this weight class. This was only my second fight. It went the distance. It was a tough fight for me, but it was a great fight for me and a great victory.
So by that, I should take to mean that you will not step up to fight Terry Norris.
At the present time, I'm leaving all these decisions making up to my promoter and manager, and whatever they see is the best move for me, I'm willing to take.
Who do you want to fight next?
I would like to fight Chavez next.
Thank you very much. And now back to George and Jim.